There is a small lag.
Yeah, correct.
But this will all come in your life.
Correct. So I'll just put on hello. Issues.
Live is 25 seconds.
Hi friends. Yes. So hi friends, welcome to our live session. We are having a great photographer, Radhakrishnan sir, PixelViilage. We welcome you all, sir. Thank you for joining us. And sorry for that small technical delay. I think there was some connectivity issue. So we welcome you all, sir, for our channel, and we are really happy to have you here. We're really honored. Actually.
Thank you very much, Prasanna, for this opportunity to kind of talk to you. Talk to you and your audience using through your channel, and the kind of work that you've been doing down south is amazing. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's like seeing Rajani come and AK photography. Oh my God, that is too much, my friend. Too much. Hi, hello.
So a lot of people have been telling me that you're a great actor also. Like you acted in the movie Charlie.
Yep, Charlie is one of the that's the movie which really became popular. But I have done about 3-4 movies, few television commercials, and few short films also. Yeah, but I'm an accidental actor. But I'd like to be known as a photographer rather than an actor.
Okay. Well, I'll just take minutes to introduce you to our audience also.
Sure, please.
So in Tamil. So friends, நம்ம ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் சார் வந்திருக்காரு PixelViilage. பட் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் சார் PixelViilage மூலமா தான் மோஸ்ட் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும். பட் ஹீஸ் அ வெரி ஃபேமஸ் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபர், ஆல்சோ ப்ரொஃபஷனல் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபர், கமர்ஷியல் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபர். 1986ல இருந்து ஒரு சார் வந்து ஷூட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. ஒரு பெரிய செலிபிரிட்டிஸ், பெரிய ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ் வந்து பண்ணிருக்காரு. ஸோ PixelViilageங்கிறது சார் வந்து இப்ப ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண ஒரு விஷயம். 2-3 இயர்ஸா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. பட் பிஃபோர் தட் சார் வந்து ஹிஸ் பிக் கமர்ஷியல் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபர். அண்ட் எனக்கும் வந்து சார் வந்து ஒரு பெரிய மென்டர் அண்ட் இன்ஸ்பிரேஷன். whenever I need some clarification, I call up சார். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு நம்ம கூட வந்திருக்காரு சார். நீங்க வந்து நிறைய கேட்கலாம், எப்படின்னா உங்க ப்ரொஃபஷனல் போட்டோகிராஃபி எப்படி பண்றது, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் நிறைய கேட்கலாம். யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா வந்து கேளுங்க. பர்சனலா அன்வான்ட் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வேண்டாம். ஸோ யூஸ்ஃபுல்லான விஷயங்கள் வந்து நம்ம கேட்கலாம் சார் கிட்ட இன்னைக்கு. Most of us know that you are.
The only thing is that I can understand. While I can understand Tamil, I can understand Tamil, but I cannot speak Tamil. And you will, if I start speaking in Tamil, you lose your audience very fast. Yeah.
So, would you like to share some words and show some of your work, sir?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for all the viewers who have gathered here. And also once again to Prasanna Venkatesh. He's a dear friend, and he's also a collaborator at a small, I would say an endeavor that we have started a couple of years back to make photography education affordable. So he's one of the partners in crime in that place, so to speak. Shoot like a bro. Shoot like a bro. Yeah. So that's what. I'm honestly, I'm really overwhelmed by the kind of reception that we are getting here. There are so many of them already live with us, watching us. So thank you once again for the opportunity. Chiranjeevi is saying, I hope it's not that Chiranjeevi. Chiranjeevi, namaste. Gurus, I am not at least a guru. He probably is a guru for sure. I'm just an ordinary regular guy. My favorite person.
No, sir. Probably, you are my guru.
Okay, so what I will do, probably what I thought I will do during this brief interaction that we're going to have today, is to probably show. Well, most of you, I assume that know Radhakrishnan as the face of PixelViilage, where you come once or twice every week with this videos, try to say something using, during a 20-30 minutes long video session, and sometimes convince you about something. Sorry,
small lag, sir.
There is a lag. Oops.
There's
I don't know.
small lag, sir.
I have
small.
idea why it is, because
Maybe it's all prime time, sir.
there
Everybody
is.
using Wi-Fi.
Is it correct? I mean, can I continue?
That's one request for you. Yes, sir. It's connected.
Hello?
Sir, connected, sir.
Oh, it says enough. Come to topic. Yeah, somebody is getting impatient there.
Hello, can you see me, sir?
Yeah, I can see you.
Nothing.
Hello. What do we say?
Oh, sir. Some lag is there. It's a small lag.
I have no idea. It says somebody saying the stream is fine. They saying, see, because on
stream is fine. Yes. There's a lag, but it's fine. So
the stream seems to be fine. They can, at least my side is fine. It's your side. There is a small delay. And one D Emmanuel is getting a little impatient, saying that enough of crap and let's come to the topic. He's saying. Okay, can I continue? I suppose since I'm very clear on the stream, let me continue. Okay, so what I thought I will do is to kind of tell you that like I was telling you, I became a familiar face on the internet world thanks to PixelViilage and the YouTube channel. But I also have a past life, okay? A past life as a full-time commercial photographer. I usually don't talk about it in our YouTube sessions. So Prasanna asked me that I should be talking about that. So I started my photography career as a a wedding photographer, okay, way back in 1986. And wedding photography was very different in those days compared to what you people are enjoying today. So it was just one camera, one flash and one lens. And of course, usually one roll of film of about 36 frames is that all you have. But it's going perfectly well in the live. It's Prasanna, it's your side which is lagging, but I'm pretty fine in the live stream.
Yes.
So maybe what we can do is once I start sharing the screen, you can you can go full screen.
I'll just yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, was the early journey as photography? Did you start inspired to become a photographer? Yes. So how do you? In fact, I was in another webinar, like 10 minutes back, in the same room with some really amazing photographer. There is this photographer called Iolo Perfido from Italy, and I will, listening to him speaking. And every photographer has some story from their, from their early childhood to connect to, as to how they became a photographer. And in my case, it was my mother, who was an ardent, very, very, very serious cinema fan. She would go to 3 movies every week. Our town had 3 theaters, and if all 3 theaters released new movies simultaneously, she actually gets a little panicky because she needs to finish watching 3 movies in 1 week. And every time she would come back after a movie, we were not really taken to all the movies all the time. But whenever she comes back, she makes it a point to explain to you the story in full details. And our cousins, people from the neighborhood, all will gather. I'm talking about the early mid 70s. Okay, mid 70s is what I'm talking about. She would narrate that story very with full detail. She would narrate it to you. So as a listener, the only way that you will see that movie is that you will start seeing that movie in your mind's eye. And you start imagining all the stars and the setup. And I slowly developed a liking towards cinematography or a visual art. And plus, our village where I grew up also was very art inclined, and there was a lot of art activities happening very, very regularly in our village. All traditional arts and fine arts and folk arts, and all this used to happen, and because it was. I mean, there were a lot of activities. Let's assume that, because I need another 1 hour to talk about all those activities anyway. So I'm sure I may have got inspired by all those activities, and I naturally took towards something which at that point was completely impossible for me to even think about because of our, social, economical backdrop. We could not afford a camera. And as luck would have it, a lot of Malayalis I'm from Kerala. I'm from central Kerala, a place called Thruponithura, which is very close to Cochin. Rajan Kannan, I will definitely. So just hold on. That's where I'm coming to. You will definitely know. I don't know whether you will be able to, duplicate that in your life, but you can, with a little bit of fine tuning, you can, maybe cut, copy, paste a little bit of all that into your life too. Anyway, coming back to what we were talking about is there are a lot of Malayalis who are in the Middle East, and a friend's father loaned me a camera, okay, saying that this camera is sitting idle in the cupboard. It'll go bad. Why don't you take it out and use it? And whenever I am on vacation, during every year, you can probably give it back to me. I'll take some pictures and then give it back to you. So that's how I started, and I started doing friends' wedding. They would buy me a roll of film. I'll use that film to shoot images, and I give it back to them. And I became more and more accepted by people around, and then they eventually started paying me a little bit of money for doing their wedding photography. And I eventually decided to drop out of my college, not exactly with the permission of my family, but I did eventually. In 84, 86, I dropped out and decided to go full time into photography, not knowing where I will end up, but it was just kind of well, I'll say I was a little fortunate that I did not have to kind of face a lot of opposition on that way to becoming a photographer. And I did a little bit of photography. About 3-4 years I did wedding photography, wedding videography, during those VHS days, using those camcorders and stuff. I kept on doing videography. And one day, well, gradually, I mean, the only thing that I would do is to, visit uh, a bookshop in Cochin, in Ernakulam, in MG Road. There used to be a bookshop called the Pico. Uh, they used to have the largest collection of books, and I will always go to the photography section. Stand there and browse through the images, and they don't really like you there. You're not really well, unless you are a real buyer. They don't really entertain you there for long. So what we do is, I very vividly remember watching Raghu Rai's Taj. I finished seeing that book in 5 trips, because in one trip you'll go and browse through the images till a certain section, leave it, go back another day, because they don't, it's a big thick book, and you can't possibly be standing there, and they will drive you away. So to avoid all that, we will watch it for a little time, then you go back and watch again. And I think it was end 88, beginning 89, 1989, I came to Bombay to do a wedding photography, to do photography for a marriage. That's again another story. Due to the lack of time, I'm not going into the details of how I landed up in Bombay, but Mumbai. But I continued staying there. All that is a story, but we have only 1 hour, so I went around. Things were a little different. It was like 30 years back. Things were different. Photographers were, there weren't too many photographers, and very few people would really allow you anywhere near them, and to get to them is also was very difficult. So fortunately, my uncle who used to live in Mumbai at that time allowed me to stay with him, and I used to live there, and I would get out every day in the morning and find telephone numbers or addresses of various photographers, just land up in their studios and keep asking them permission to, allow me to work with them. And eventually, after 1 month, I was a little fortunate, I would say. After 1 month of being consistently getting out every day and trying to meet a new photographer, I landed up in Rafiq Syed's studio. He allowed me to stay with him. After 5 months, I shifted Rafiq Ilyas, another amazing photographer, who allowed me to be with him. He also had an advertising agency. So in that advertising agency, I continued working for almost 5 years, doing everything. It was a small design studio, not like a big size agency. It was a very high quality creatives, very few number of people. So I could interact with Rafiq Ilyas, my boss, very, very closely. And I would come early, everything other than, occasionally there are days where I have swept and, cleaned that studio. Also, I've slept in that studio. It was more like an office. So during the day, it's an office. In the night, we would, shift the shelves around and make some space to do some small still life and, things like that. So that's how I started. So 1989. 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95 end. 94 end, beginning of 95, I decided that I want to go back to Cochin, where I'm originally from, and start doing some photography there. Because of various social pressures and commitments, I thought I will do that, and I landed up. I took I did not leave Mumbai, but I left my family. By then, I got married. No children yet, but got married, and I'll come to PixelViilage in the process. Please, Subhash, stay there. I'll explain to you. And I came to Cochin. I did my local rounds, and I realized that no, I still don't have sufficient resources to start a photography life of my own. I did not even have other than a small 35 mm. Now you call it full frame, right? In those days we used to call it small frame. Of Nikon, I had a Nikon F801S. That's all I had. So I realized that I can't do anything, and there were really established photographers in Kerala at that time. So I decided to go back. I went back, and fortunately, one client that I had met while I was working with my boss, Rafiq Ilyas, he gave me a small assignment. I said, "Okay, beta, ye karo tum," and from there, I started doing small assignments. Because of my advertising agency experience, or whatever little exposure I got in because advertising is huge. But fortunately, because our agency was very small, it used to be known as Nucleus Advertising Agency, and was one of the most creative hot shops at that time in Mumbai. And I got my hands on almost all aspects of advertising. Though I myself was not an expert, I could kind of do a lot of things other than the creative side. So with that experience, I started a small one desk, one man, one computer, one camera operation in 1996. I started a small, a well-wisher who owned a printing press allowed me to use a corner of his office to run my, operation. I used to call it celluloid and after, C&A, celluloid, and after, because I used to do photography. And I was promising people, or selling myself, saying that I can also do other things. So you don't have to run around. So there was a lot of small clients in Dadar. It was central Mumbai, who had lots of ready-made garments and kids wear shops and all that. They could not afford big agencies, so they will come to me. I'll do small shoots, make their creatives, price tags, posters, and even small ads. And I did all that, and it took me about almost 3 years. So 96, 97, 98, 99. Beginning of 99, I bought my first Hasselblad. Because in those days, as you know, when you go to an agency, they ask you, they definitely, even now, people are asked, what are you using? What do you use to shoot? And in the advertising agency, they would definitely ask you, what camera do you use? What camera do you have? Do you have a large format? He's talking about those huge technical cameras, okay? So do you have a large format camera? Do you have a studio of your own? Do you have a Hasselblad? These are the standard questions, they used to ask. And when I got my first camera and 3 lenses, then I said, look, now I need to seriously look for commercial advertising work. Mahendran says in 1986, I was a 2-year-old kid. Yes, but, that doesn't make you at any kind of disadvantage, okay? You have miles to go in front of you, so you're going to gather all that information. Fortunately, that's something good about this current age, is you have this medium here. In those days, you had only one magazine, one newspaper, and probably one television channel to access information. And not all information was available. Hence, photography was, a special field, a magic and all that. I'm not saying the magic is gone. Magic is still there, but it is accessible to you. Like Mahendran, just now, you're sitting in front and listening to me. Though I wanted to listen to all photographers at that time, we had no option. We had no way, barring some interviews that will appear here and there in some magazines. Anyway, cutting back to present, back to our conversation. I started looking out for assignments, And a friend of mine, who used to be a copywriter in Lintas Advertising. Lintas used to be, well, it was one of the biggest in the country. And he said, "Look, I have a small campaign." It was during August 1999, I think August, uh, uh, on a Mother's Day. We want to do a campaign for Oberoi Hotels on Mother's Day. I want you to shoot a mother on a Mother's Day. I said, fine. He said, well, I don't have too much money to pay you, but I'll give you, I will very clearly remember, I'll give you 10,000 rupees for that job. Remember, it is 1999, August. 10,000 rupees is what I used to make in a month, running my hot creative place. I got 10,000 rupees. Client liked the work. I shot a mother on a Mother's Day in Oberoi Hotels. The ad appeared. People liked it. Agency liked it. They gave me some more work. And suddenly I realized that, look, now this is probably what the opening that I was looking for. So I shut my advertising, that small creative tabletop that I had. I shut that, and I moved completely into photography. I had this Hasselblad 3 lenses, and as luck would have it, so this is something which I definitely want to tell everyone who's watching, who's anxious or impatient to do their work, and why am I not getting my work, why is my work is not appreciated and all that. Let me tell you, it took me 11 years to do my first commercial work. Now, don't use that as a benchmark. Maybe I am incompetent, probably my work was not good enough, but why did I get that opportunity to do that work? Only because I stayed in that course. Okay, I continued to stay. There was lots and lots of so-called distractions on the way. I mean, I got a job in the Middle East as a photographer in a I decided not to go because I wanted to become a commercial photographer, and I said, if I go to the Middle East, I may not become one. So I want to continue pursuing what I was continuing to pursue, though the attraction, the money-wise, that was a much better option at that time. So I continued working, and in the April of 2000, okay, so 1999 and 2000, someone casually introduced me to somebody who had a photography studio, a digital photography studio, which was ready to be used, but he had no one to run it. Now I will say it was a divine, intervention. I will also say that probably because I stayed the course, I continued to, stay probably focused in that path of wanting to become a photographer, is why I met that. It's probably that force or that the strength of that intention, will, strength of that want to do something. Probably that's why those two people met. From there, I very clearly remember going to 7 advertising agencies with my portfolio. I had about 20 images. And those 7 people continued to give me enough work. I rarely went to a new agency, rarely had to go to a new agency, purely because, how much work can one photographer do in a month? There were 7 agencies. There were a few spill-off, few direct clients. They kept on giving us work. But I want to definitely tell you that the second agency that I went to with my portfolio, so there was no iPad and computer that you would carry for a presentation. In those days, you will carry physical prints. So I had a portfolio bag. I have to physically present to them. And there was this art director, very senior man, a very popular man who actually took all that pictures and kind of threw it onto my, in front of me, saying that, yeah, what is this? 95% of this work is trash. Absolutely, you know. Well, of course, he has his own reasons for saying that. 5%, okay, good work. But which side are you? Are you that bad photographer, or are you that 5% photographer? If you are just a 5% photographer, I don't want to trust you. I actually walked about 8 kilometers on that day, dejected, depressed, saying that, look, I am good for nothing. But again, let me tell you that, so this is another thing that I would like to definitely tell you to all aspiring photographers who are here, is that when you ask for an opinion about your work, make sure that you're asking to a right person. Okay. I keep saying majority of people don't really like your work, in the sense they don't like you seeing what you're doing, and the rest don't care. Okay, so just make sure that whom you are asking an opinion, they will more often than not, they will misguide you. Chances that I'm not discouraging you. You must ask for opinion. What I want trying to tell you is that you must ask. First thing, you should be your own judge. Second, you should not keep asking for opinion to all and sundry. You should be able to take a neutral opinion about, or make a neutral decision about your work, and you should show to only those people whom you think who likes you and would like to give you a neutral opinion. Okay, so that's very, very important thing. So I continued working, and I kept on. Then I started doing work for a whole lot of people. So I like to share to those people who have not seen the photography work that I do. I like to show some work. So I like to share the screen. So yeah, okay, let me share the screen with the Chrome tab, which talks about, yeah, can you see this? Can you see it? Maybe it'll appear here. Can you see this work? I'm just waiting for it to appear on the screen. Can you? Okay, that's it. Yeah, okay. So here it is. So these are some work that I have been doing. And if you enter inside, it'll take you inside and show you a whole lot of work. So I'm going to start with some celebrity work. These work are done for a sari client from South, and let me keep this is Sonali Bendre. So for the lack of time, I may not have enough time to stop and explain every image that is here, but these images were shot for a sari client in Kerala called Shimati. So these were images shot. This is, of course, you know who this is. This was shot for the famous jewelry store in Chennai. This was the one and only Rahul Dravid. This was shot for Asian Paints. Of course, what you see around, these structures are they were. It was used as a cutout, in all possibility, with a little bit of this backdrop. But this was not used. But I like this frame like this, so I just kept it like that in my portfolio. Of course, this is the one and only Sachin Tendulkar. And of course, Dhoni during his long hair days. And yep, the one and only Amitabh Bachan. Here is our fastest man of India. Then, of course, we have all these film stars and singers and actors and all here. Of course, John Abraham. This is his Ganesh is very popular in South. So this was and this was one of the first celebrity endorsements that Ganesh was having. So we had a nice ball. I'm sure he's very different now, but in those days it was like he used to send text messages. In those days he had just done Mungaru Male, and he was like on top of the world at that time. So this was during that 2006-7 days. Yeah. Okay. So this list is pretty long because we used to do a lot of these, shoots. But the one which I really like and which is very close to my heart is lifestyle photography. Basically, lifestyle photography involving people, involving real life people or actors, but enacting real life situations. So this was done. This campaign was done using. So I'm occasionally glancing at the YouTube feed also, so that I just want to make sure that everyone is, seeing what I am seeing on my screen. Okay, so these are situations. There were no references. These were one line brief. So the client would give you a line, say magic moments of a holiday, and you are asked to recreate or create a situation which conveys that feeling, a magic moment of a holiday. So here they are. All, I mean, I probably shot, I don't know how many, thousands of images with that one brief called Magic Moment of a Holiday. So these are those images. So as you can see, they all kind of invite you to, to go to a holiday, enjoy that moment and things like that. So these images were used extensively a few years back by Club Mahindra for their campaigns. We also did a lot of videos during that time. So as you can see, one line, but so many images which basically talked about a holiday and a life, a magic moment from a holiday. So there are different segments. This segment had lots of children, and then you slowly introduce a parent in it. So these are with parents. I'm kind of quickly browsing through these images because we have limited amount of time. So please go to seeradha.com, seeradha.com, so that you can see it and let me know what you think. And all these images all were shot on a full frame digital camera on the run. Some were on a tripod, some were on handheld, but we had a ball. We traveled the breadth and length of the country, traveled in large groups, carried these models, makeup people, production people, and went to these locations, recreated these situations, and shot these images. We also got an opportunity to travel abroad. So this is Dubai, and what you're seeing behind in this image here is the Atlantis. And another thing that I personally like shooting is architecture, because I like symmetry, I like colors, textures. So these images basically are setup shots. Okay, these are not architecture as as presented in front of you. They're not buildings or interiors. We created them for a purpose. So that's something which I personally really liked. So you work with a team of stylists, a team of art directors and producers and location managers to create this image for your client. So these were images shot, in a real location. So this place is actually a rundown mill in Kulaba called Mukesh Mills, and this was shot in that place. And it was, I very vividly remember, this was shot on the 31st of December, and most of our production team was cursing me for scheduling a shoot on the 31st of December, but everyone enjoyed it. We got some nice shots. We packed up early, and everyone reached back to their destinations to enjoy the new year. So yeah, so these were those images. We actually carried dry leaves in gunny bags to to spread here to do this shot. Yeah, so these are those images. This was shot in AVM studio in Chennai for Paris. It was Ogilvy Chennai who gave me this opportunity even to conceive this shot, and this was shot in that place. And Prasanna sir, if you're listening, this studio doesn't exist anymore, and your house exists here. You live in.
Yes, sir, I live there.
Yeah, so this was shot in AVM Studios, and
My
like
first
I said,
shoot was in AVM, sir. AVM Studio. My first shoot was in AVM Studio.
yeah. But the thing is that where I shot this, so the thing is that where I shot this image, this place doesn't exist anymore, and you're living in there. Your house is there.
That's my C block now, actually.
Yeah. So this is the kind of architecture images, that interior images. So we would create a set, light it up artificially, and shoot them. Unfortunately, I don't have the behind the scene images. I thought I will never. I never thought I will have an education platform where I had to share these things with people. So I don't have any behind the scene images of these, but I can definitely explain if time permits. These images were shot on real location. Sorry, I'm kind of browsing through. Madhu Ramachandra. Hi, Madhu's. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comment. Thank you, Madhu. Thank you. And Ranjan Kannan, Rajan Kannan saying beautiful work. Thank you very much, Rajan. Really happy that you like the work. All commercial work. So these are some images. This is actually shot in my studio, which was about 20 feet by, about 800 square feet studio. This is shot inside 800 square feet. We actually created a small set, an L-shaped set, got all these things into my studio, which actually was on the second floor of an industrial estate, and we shot this. A few amazing production people who worked with us, really amazing people who worked with us on this. This was shot for Asian Paints. All these are shot for Asian Paints when they launched their, color series. Your narration brings us a feeling like reading a complete book of knowledge, page by page. Thank you very much, Mahendran. I've not prepared this speech. I'm just speaking my mind as it happens with me. So if you're liking it, thank you very much. Really happy to see that I'm not wasting your time on a lockdown evening where you can actually probably watch an interesting Rajani movie. Yeah. Okay. So these are images that was shot. These are some hospitality shots. Really liked hospitality shots. As you can see, I have not been doing too much of digital work on this, sort of clean. I would try to get the image as close to my finished image as possible. I'm sure a full-time architectural interior photographer will say, you could have done this, you could have done that. Yes, maybe I should take these images and give it to a retoucher and get it very, very seriously retouched. But yeah, I would. In those days, I was to prefer. This is not very far. I mean, this is probably 5-year-old image, but I would do very limited retouching. And Prasanna, if you can take that comment off the screen, they will be able to see the entire image properly, because now the image is getting pushed. Yeah. Okay, so this is the kind of images that we shoot. They're all entirely natural light. Probably there is a fill-in flash filling, the shadow here. And this is the other side of the same lobby. Prasanna sir, can you? That's it. That's much better, because they'll be able to actually see the entire image. Otherwise, that band below was, covering a little bit of the image. So this image basically is a real wide-angle image. This is not shot with. This is actually 2 shots on a Nikon D850. So this is, you're looking at 2 images using a tilt shift lens. You actually compose the image, then you tilt the lens you shift the lens to the left, take this portion, then there is nothing moving, there's no light change. Make sure that you don't have any light change. Shift the lens to the right, and then take this side and then digitally put it together. So what you're looking at is probably an 80 megapixel image is what you're looking at. So sure. So this is another image which is shot like that. This is another image which is shot like that. This again is another image shot like that. Yep, another one. This is another one. This is an amazing spa where we shot. This again is an image. Okay, and let me quickly go to a little bit of editorial stuff that I did. So by then it was, so all these things took a lot of time, right? I mean, cannot happen overnight. It took a lot of time, and somewhere along the way, I realized that if you stay as so how did I become a photographer? Because not entirely because I wanted to become a photographer. Lots of people all along the way helped me selflessly, I would say, by lending me cameras, lending me advice, giving me proper direction. Some of them even paid me a salary for me to do what I like to do. Okay, so definitely a lot of people helped me. I could not have gone to an expensive photography school or a college and then automatically become a photographer. I became a photographer purely because someone helped me. So that gives me no right. I keep saying this. Whenever possible, I keep saying this. Give me no right to hold on to that understanding of photography and not share it. So hence, we started PixelViilage in about 3 years back with that objective. So PixelViilage started as a YouTube channel. Then, it took its own time to become a little bit of, we had real hard, disappointing 7, 8, 9 months where very few people subscribed and watched us. And when it took off eventually in 2018, September, October, it took off. And now today we are looking at the possibility of having 700,000 subscribers by tomorrow or latest day after. If it goes at this rate, I think we will have 700,000 subscribers by Friday, I think. Anyway, so as a part of that, all that, you can talk about PixelViilage. Of course, that's what I am So we started PixelViilage with an objective to share photography understanding with people. Anyone who wants to. So usually photography education is expensive in our country. If you want to go to a college and learn photography, it's an expensive affair. There are two sides to it. One, there are not too many photography colleges available, and they can only take only a limited number of students, even if you have the money and time to go there. What about those remaining majority of population of photographers who wants to learn photography? So we thought maybe we should make use of the new technology and the platforms that are available now. And then I started talking to people like Prasanna sir and Jesse sir and a few other like-minded people in the country, and we built this platform called PixelViilage.com, and where we thought we will be able to present or put together photography classes at very affordable prices. So we also need to produce the class, right? We need to get somebody from Delhi or someone from Chennai to come to Pune, where our studio is. By the way, I'm in Pune. PixelViilage is in Pune. To come to our studio, shoot and go back and all that. So we needed money, of course. To raise that kind of money, we thought we will charge a small fee for that, while YouTube continued to remain free. So we will be completing first year of PixelViilage on web, that is PixelViilage online portal. We will be meeting near on Sunday. Okay, on this Sunday, we're going to have something very interesting and exciting for you. We're going to launch this on Sunday morning. You heard it first on this channel. I'll not exactly tell you what it is, but we're going to be launching that on Sunday morning. So please stay tuned. Prasanna sir also will send you messages. We'll go live and we will present something very interesting to you. So if you are a photography student, stay tuned. Okay, so Prasanna sir, can you again share my screen once again? I want to quickly show them some images. Thanks to.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. One thing I just wanted to ask you. Some people, a lot of people ask me, like, how do I become a mentor? Okay, how do I become like a PixelViilage mentor? Okay, these questions a lot of people ask me, like, okay, how did you become a mentor? What's the quality to become a mentor? Can you just share some?
Anyone who has a heart and to willingly share your understanding with people can become a mentor. Okay, I am not a know-all of photography. I don't think I know photography well. I'm learning every time. Like I said, I was in a forum speaking to an Italian photographer an hour back, and I learned in that 1 hour. I learned a few things which I didn't know that existed. You get a camera. How many things are there in a camera? You have an aperture, you have a shutter, and you have an ISO. These are the three controls that you have in a camera, right? To me, to Ansel Adams, also to Prasanna sir, to you, to everyone, these are the three things that are available. So what makes one photographer different from the other? It's your own beliefs, so how will you learn it? Only when somebody shares with you willingly. Correct? So anyone who's ready to willingly share his understanding is a mentor. But let me tell you, it's a very responsible position to be in. Lots of people trust you. Lots of people believe you. A lot of people will follow you. Hence, it becomes a big, huge responsibility. So lots of people, you all are here listening to this conversation, hoping that you will learn something from this conversation, right? So it's my responsibility not to kind of to make sure that whatever I am saying is will be of some use to you. One, second, they are if I don't know about something, I must admit that I don't know about it. I would rather go back, learn about it, read, and then come back and tell you. So these are the things that I'm a good mentor. I think the willingness to share and be patient with the listener, I think, is the biggest virtue of a mentor. And yeah, I mean, if you have it, I think that's what you should be having. So if you can share the live screen, yeah, okay. So that's the screen. So let me go to my page. And sorry. Okay, so as a part of PixelViilage, now my representation to all the photography manufacturers and distributors and people like that is that please help us to reach photography education to people in a more affordable way. So as a part of that, Nikon invited us to travel to Japan. So these images were shot during that trip to Japan. This was during the launch of the 850. We had just started PixelViilage at that time. And what an amazing camera. I still use them. It's one of my favorite cameras. Still extremely valid camera. So these are some images that I've shot during that trip. So there were a whole lot of other photographers. So this photographer, he is Tapu Zaveri. He's from Karachi. Rio Motred. He's from Indonesia. He's got 1 million follower. He's from Cameroon. Is from Australia, doing a shoot in a place called Odawara. It's a castle where we were shooting this. So these were some images that we shot. We shot on the streets. These are some fashion images that we've been shooting. These are some images that, shot during that. A lot of stuff. So let me quickly, are there any questions that you want to take now, or shall I go to a little bit of PixelViilage?
So we can talk about
Prasanna,
PixelViilage. A lot of people are asking already that asking you to talk about PixelViilage also.
Okay. So PixelViilage.
Maybe you can just have a. I'll remove the screen, sir.
Remove. Yeah, you can remove.
I'll just.
Yeah. Perfect. And so what I will probably try and do is let me quickly see what PixelViilage YouTube channel is doing as we speak. How much? What is it doing? We are 698. If I have to share a screen and PixelViilage YouTube, yeah, here it is. So we are looking at you're looking at 698. Yeah. So that's what you're looking at now. That's the subscription. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone who is subscribed and watching us regularly. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and this is what PixelViilage is all about as on today. So we have these amazing people. So let me show you those people who are a part of PixelViilage. Okay, so these are some real stalwarts of Indian photography and photography education. They are very happy to share their understanding. You can see it from their face itself. Arindam Da is an acclaimed documentary photographer. Ashok Dilwali. Dilwali sir. You said something?
So just a minute, sir. Can you share the screen, sir? Can you share the screen, sir? We're not able to see the screen.
Okay. I don't have the screen. Okay. Let me share the screen. Okay, here it is. Yep. Can you see it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay, so this is our PixelViilage online photography education portal. And we have a whole lot of classes on architectural, interior photography, beginner fundamentals, food photography, documentary, wedding, landscape, studio lighting. That's very interesting, and fashion photography. So we are building these classes, and these are the people who are a part of our group. So there is a small difference between what is currently available as a free share on internet. I'm not saying they are bad, but these people actually handhold you, okay, and take you through that whole steps like a baby step. uh, some are advanced classes, some are fundamentals and beginner classes, but they are teachers. They are not just photographers who are, they share an image and talk about that image. They are also in the process sharing their experience with you during the class. So Arindam Da is an amazing veteran documentary photographer. Dilwali Saheb has been shooting. He's 79 or 80 now. For major part of his life, he's been doing photography, and one type of photography. He's been photographing Himalayan mountains at the Kumaon area, at the Gadwali Himalayan area. Now, this is Ashiman Narayan, again, a well-established documentary photographer. More Sav has been doing various things, commercial photography, and also he is an extremely talented mentor. Jesse Sir, great, he's also a YouTuber. He's a landscape photographer and an amazing teacher. And then you have Neil Bose available. We still don't have content from Isaac Sam yet. We're hoping to have some Malayalam content soon. But Neil Bose, catalogs, he's the king. He'll tell you exactly how to do catalog work, how to finish it, how to produce it, and all that. And Neeta is an accomplished wedding photographer, and she also shares the business side of photography. And I don't need to give special introduction to Prasanna Master, right? He takes you through a class as if he is narrating a story to you. I've not really seen him stopping for looking for an appropriate word or a sentence. He starts and it just flows, and every time it's a new thing. You make him stop and ask him to start again, he'll come with a new story. So that's what he is. Rafiq Syed, he's my guru. I started my photography life with him, so he's also taking few classes. Ranjan Sharma again is time to take a break. There's something that happened here, so let me just reset my phone, okay? Because the phone says, look, I should take a break. Anyway, and Ranjan Sharma and Ravi Dingra, both great teachers. You must listen to them. You will understand how they teach. And then, of course, my friend William Chang. Now, William Chang was the first man who said yes to this PixelViilage journey. And he is a teacher himself and a really accomplished wedding photographer. So these are our mentors. So what happens is, when you willingly learn from, if you learn from someone who willingly sharing an information, it's like your regular college or school. A good teacher will make an interesting subject or a boring subject really interesting and exciting. But a boring teacher, or a teacher who is there because he wants to, earn a living by teaching, he's a reluctant teacher. he will actually make that subject more boring than actually it is, like history and maths and all that were really boring to me. And if you have a bad teacher, it'll become actually more boring than actually it is. And we had a organic chemistry teacher, I remember. He made the class so lively that we all got interested in. Can you imagine organic chemistry and developing a liking towards that? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And of course, we also have some blogs, and we also have some partners who are helping us in this process. So that's what PixelViilage is all about. And let me come back to you on this page. So maybe you can now, it can be just you and me. So thank you very much for sitting through this session. I think we are well over 1 hour. I think I was just blabbering away, and I can see tons of sorry?
Couple of questions.
Yeah, no. Couple of questions. I'll stay here and answer all questions. I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere. So I can see tons of questions here. So please ask a question. This is a question. Sir, can you explain about dynamic symmetry composition, my friend? There are things that you can explain on a session like this. A symmetry, any explanation on composition requires demonstration, and lots of drawings and things like that. So I'll create a video which you can watch. So it's a little too cumbersome or impossible to explain during a session like this. So Abhi, you will have to forgive me, pardon me. I'll definitely try and make a video on this. What makes a person to see subjects differently, to capture is so distinctive? Yes, very valid question, Chandru. I always say two people with same camera, same lens, same aperture settings, ISO, all camera settings, looking at the same subject is likely to come out with two different looking images is what I feel. And why is it different? It will be different because of your own experience and your own perception. The way you see things may not be the way somebody else see that same thing. The way you react to that situation may not be the same way. So it will have a lot to do with your past, you as an individual, and your past and your preferences, your likings, the way you were brought up, and the company that you were in, and the books that you read, and the movies that you saw, and the experiences that you had. And we all have a sense of right and wrong in our head. All that will collectively will help you see a picture it's a very subconscious decision. It's a very beautiful decision, but for a fact that I cannot shoot, let's say, glamour very, very, very easily because of various beliefs that I have in my head. But I am very comfortable talking to a family, interacting with them, and creating or an individual creating a portrait or creating a landscape or an architectural image. I'm very comfortable because those are the things that I grew up with. And though photography you term it as glamorous, the real glamour photography, I was personally not very comfortable. My communication with my glamorous model probably was not good enough. And personally, I was more comfortable talking to, let's say, a family of models, a father, son, children, elders. I was more comfortable talking. So I would see those images much better and direct those images much better. So it has everything to do with what you are, how you reached this far. Can you explain about what is your fetish about framing and composition, Prasanna? Because I'm telling that it is not it's not very easy to explain that without demonstration and drawing in a session. So I would I would request them to excuse me in and this how to improve our creative level. Yes. Let me tell you, every day you are improving. So okay, so let me first tell you that lot of people, majority, because I interact, take it for granted that I interact with lots of people. I have about 3,500 numbers on this phone who keep calling me, asking for various suggestions, opinions, gear advice, etc. People think that if I buy the latest camera, latest gear, I am ready to become a photographer. So you will master a craft, but there is something called the photographer, right? That photographer's creative mind, again, it doesn't many photographers I know doesn't really understand the equipment in the sense they don't really care what type of focusing mechanism is inside, how many frame it gives. He is interested in one frame. As long as he can create what he saw in his head, he's fine. So technology becomes secondary to a truly creative professional. And if you're also technically very sound, that's the icing on the cake. So to improve your creative level, or you need to grow up, if you need to grow as an artist, okay, you should do a lot of things besides photography too. I will say read, which is like a vanishing trait these days. People don't read enough because we are all have our own failings and trappings. So we are in front of the computer, and our vision is limited to this 15 inches or a 21-inch screen of real estate. But pick up a book and read. So when you read, what happens is there is a process called reading between the lines, which usually is not reading, it's actually seeing. So visualize them. So that visual, that process will actually tickle and what's the right word? It will tickle and excite the right part of your brain, and you'll start visualizing things. And not really get conditioned by the visuals that you see. Because if you look at a reference visual in let's say on Google, you ask for let's say a landscape image that you saw or a creative image that you saw, those images actually condition you. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to replicate or photocopy them using your camera. That's what you do, right? To see differently, you need to visualize differently. So if you are devoting more time to photocopy images onto your head, you will stay with it. Of course, you will recreate it with a little difference, but you will get conditioned by that. But when you read 10 different, let's say, authors who are talking about various different things, it doesn't really have to be photography. I will say it should not be photography. If you are a street photographer, read about social things, about society, about people, read novels. It'll trigger your imagination, and it'll trigger a different part of your brain, and you'll start visuals much of your own. It becomes your own. You're not then guided or limited by another visual. When you go out to create that, then you improve your your creative capability. You grow as an artist. Was that good enough, Prasanna?
One more tricky question, sir.
Okay. So, what's your favorite part of being a photographer? What are your dislikes being a photographer? Okay. In this case, I need to say that in major portion of my life of photography career, I've been a commercial photographer. Okay. a commercial photographer basically means my job is to bring somebody else's visuals into life. It was seen by a photographer, an art director or a client. He had that visual in his head. He had a marketing objective. He had his own logic of why that image needs to be in a particular way. My job is to bring that into life. Okay, so there ends my job. I think I mentioned it somewhere else that I am like a mercenary. Okay, in Kerala they call them quotation team. Quotation team basically means somebody who's hired to kill. In the north they are called the Supari people. So you pay someone a money, point at a guy, and your job is to go and finish him off. And you personally don't have. Sorry.
In Tamil, we call it adiyal, sir. Adiyal.
Okay, adiyal. So you personally don't have any dislike or enmity towards that man, or a like or a dislike towards that person. But your job, you're paid to go and kill the guy, and you go and do it. So your job is exactly that. So you do it dispassionately. And if there are places where you are allowed to also contribute creatively, there are places. Of course, 98% I would say will be recreation and recreating a visual. And there are 2% of this whole job which will give you a little bit of you get a I did something today kind of a feel, where you also contributed and created, and something came out of that, that teamwork. So as long as my client is happy, I am happy. So the best part of being a photographer is, because you're a commercial photographer and because you have to deliver certain things in a certain way, I can say in front of, let's say, Madras Central Station, I want 10 white elephants on Monday morning, 9 o'clock. I want them, and I don't want anybody to cross that street, and someone will make it happen for me. Correct? That's a best part of the commercial photographer, because to deliver an image, then there are times when you get these opportunities to ask for these impossible stuff and work with the best, and you only have to tell them. Only thing is, that you're also responsible for it. I'm just putting it lightly. And the things that I dislike about being a commercial photographer is that occasionally we also lie. I don't enjoy it, though. So because of which I have made a few exclusions. Like, I don't shoot meat products, I don't shoot alcohol, and I don't shoot fairness creams. Something you say is, if you're fair, if you're fairer, you will be more successful. So I don't shoot these three jobs. I've never done any assignments. It was just a decision that I took, to lie less. So, well, but there are times when you create an image, you actually you lie. So that's something which I was not personally very comfortable about. But the good thing is that if you ask for something, you would get it. Okay. So I do almost all kinds of photography, but now I am confused which one to choose as a profession. Okay, so the J, I am assuming that's your name. I'm going to call you J. J, everyone goes through this. Okay, it's not just it has not happened only to you. Everybody goes through it, and all you have to do is to, like I said, give it time. If you are not comfortable with something, don't push it. Okay, if you're not comfortable, if you want to improve it, definitely go after it and improve it. And over a period of time, if you're a commercial photographer, look for the kind of jobs that you are offered maximum. And if you may not be aware, but definitely the man who's paying you is definitely aware as to what you are better at. They'll come to you only for that job. So while doing that, you improve on the other photography branch which you want to probably work on and develop. So don't rush into anything. Continue doing everything and let the time. So the biggest hindrance or biggest disadvantage which the current so-called fast-paced world, now it is going to be 5G very soon. In 5G, you're going to download a feature film in 3 seconds or something like that, is what I heard. So you are in this kind of world, people don't have enough time to sit down and give time for oneself. Now you're in lockdown. Otherwise, you will not have spent 1 hour in front of an old man, gray-haired guy, bald guy with a specs, ranting, talking nonsense. You will not be sitting. But if you want a certain, there are certain times, then you need to give it time, go through that journey, and the time will definitely open it up in front of you, saying that, my son Jay, I think this is what is right for you. Pursue it. Well, it will actually not be a third person. It'll be you yourself finding that out. Okay. So Ratinam is asking tips to start a photography business part-time, since I cannot quit my primary job due to family commitments. Please, thank you. Good vibes. Thank you very much. So this is thanks to current facilities that are available. Thanks to the social media, affordable cameras and lights and affordable education. Anyone who's interested in photography can do photography. One. Second, these days, I have found a lot of people who are in IT having this kind of questions, because most of them, 99.9% of the guys, sit in front of a monitor, a 21-inch real estate. Uske samne, you're in front of that, and you're spending the whole day with a machine. And they want to do something creative. They think they get people interact with them, create. So a lot of them resort to traveling, wildlife, portraiture photography. Definitely, the best way to do is to have a camera of your own. Start shooting during weekends. First, volunteer. If you're the best thing that you can do is to start a small portrait photography corner in your own home. We have a video called Small Studio and how to do photography in small studio. It's available both in our YouTube channel and also in PixelViilage online online platform. So it's about small studios, how you can shoot products for e-com, how you can shoot catalogs, very effectively in your studio. So you start it during your weekend time, and if you pick it up and if you enjoy it more, and if it's going to give you enough revenue to kind of completely shift over to a new profession, by all means do it. I know many people who have done it. I will definitely not encourage anyone to jump and then look for a job. I will definitely. Yeah, have you seen these worms on leaves of plants? They eat leaves basically. When they eat leaves, and when they finish eating that leaf, they go to the next leaf. They don't jump to the next leaf. Only monkeys jump from one to another. These worms are very careful. They stretch themselves. They catch hold of the other leaf, and then they let the earlier leaf go. Okay. So for someone who's got family situations, job situations, don't do that harakiri. Don't jump like a monkey. Stay and make that gradual transition. If anybody can have a second profession, it is now. The best time is now. Can we have the next question? I think I answered Ratinam's question. What impact will this COVID-19 pandemic bring to photography field? I wish I knew. But it definitely not going to be easy in near term. Okay. If you are a full-time photographer, if you are a wedding photographer, the budgets will definitely be limited. I may think that the weddings may not be as elaborate. Well, I'm sure the extremely rich guy will still have sufficient money, enough money to splurge and do a big wedding, but that's a minority. But when you talk about weddings in general, the whole celebration will become definitely smaller. So you will have to work with much lesser fees. I think what will not be replaced will be creativity. Okay, if you are also an also-ran photographer, everyone is into photography, let me also get into photography. That's a place where I can earn a quick buck, be popular in my friend circle, and be seen in Instagram and Facebook and get some 1,000 likes. Those people, be very careful. I think you should spend your time improving your creativity, which one of our viewers earlier asked. You should spend your time to be a better artist. And an artist will still hold his value. Someone who just, he said, okay, stand there, click, he only knows that it's 5.6, 8, and 11, those kind of scenario. Those people might be impacted more than a talented creative photographer, because for creativity, COVID has not really affected creativity. It has only impacted people's spending. So even at a limited amount of money is available, they would rather spend toward a place where where the client will see value. So see how you can add value to your product. So that's what you should be doing. And all, not just photography, all fields will be affected. It is not a secret. I am not an economist. I am just using my common sense. I can see around people struggling. At least we are in a position to sit here and talk about, things in a comfortable kind of environment. But there are, millions who are daily wage earning guys who are out on the street. I don't know what my prayers for them. I don't know what will happen to most of them. But the world has so one big consolation is that the world has seen similar or bigger tragedies. Okay, they've gone through much more severe events in the past at a stage where the world was not technologically so advanced. Correct. Now we at least, if there is a place as a containment area, you could send messages, you could, you anticipate it, you could measure it and all that using technology. Imagine 1910 when Spanish flu hit the world. I'm sure there was no way you could send a message across. Probably there was radio, but how many people could afford radio in those days? Correct? You imagine that. Now everyone has the latest, and the most advanced device in your hand, and you get instantly, the messages, the right ones and the fake ones. You get all of them instantly. So I would say you are better prepared to come out of the situations, provided you don't lose your mental energy. So use this lockdown period to come out as a stronger person. May not be money wise, but physically and mentally a stronger person on the other side of the event is something that you should try and do for sure. So don't waste your time, talking politics and religion and all possible nonsenses on social media. Don't waste your time there at all. Use your time to improve yourself as a person. Do regular exercises, learn yoga if you are someone who's inclined. If you are art inclined, watch something. Somebody asked about how can I improve creativity. Take 10 books. You have nothing else to do. Just switch off your social media, go and read, dance. My son, that's what he does. He watches, Sridevi Nrityalaya, correct? And
Yes, yes, yes,
he's
sir.
learning. He cannot go to his dance class, so he's learning from the class.
So
So do that.
One thing I want to add to this, if
Sure.
somebody is not using this lockdown to learn a new skill, I think they won't be able to come up in life actually. Like this,
Well,
I'm
honestly, let's not pray for another lockdown for sure. Use
so we
make the
have
best
to,
of it.
yes, yes.
Yeah, make the best of it. 80% of photographers depend on technology and make artificial images. Is it good? Well, I would say why not? It's a tool that is available. If he is creating something out of it, it's entirely his decision. Someone to like it and not like it is that person's decision. So, do you think all the movies that are created or produced and which are successful are good movies? Do you think that it is the case? No, it is not. If it is not, then you think it should be stopped? No, it is not. So, to each one's own. Even in the olden days of film and print and all that, they still used to manipulate the images to the best of their ability. The best example is by the god himself. Ansel Adams devised something called zone system, which is in a way an analog Photoshop, right? So it always existed in one form or the other. Instead of now, if you know Photoshop from when it started in the, let's say, the early 90s to now, Photoshop has come a long way, right? You don't have to any longer click and make a mask. Making a mask is layers are easy. Everything about Photoshop has improved. Who knows? Tomorrow you only have to touch an order. It will take verbal commands from you saying that, okay, mask this this old man from the screen, vanish him. You say that, and the software make it possible. At that point, someone will ask you, is it ethical? Is it true? Is it right? Well, it's everything has to do with the times that you are in. To do this, I don't think there is a limit. There are times when you need to say a truth as truth. If somebody is putting a photoshopped image on the front page of a newspaper, I would say it is non-ethical. It's unethical. Sorry. But you are manipulating truth and misguiding people, misinforming people, then I would definitely say it is wrong. But in advertising, it is done every day. The shampooed hair never stays like that. It is never stayed like that. It's always manipulated. The bubble or the froth in your beer or the skin, it is never like that. Ask me. I've shot many film stars, and ask me how their skins are. I've not touched the screen, but I mean,
and the food shoots, sir.
and the food, yeah, of course. You don't eat the food that you don't eat the food that you shoot, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you got the answer. Madhuri Devi asking, can you talk about essential of running a successful photography studio at the current scenario? The things to be emphasized on this time of bursting social media presence. There is no escaping social media, Madhuri. You need to be present there. Well, there was a time I remember where an artist used to be so proud of his artistry that he would very seldom talk about it. Well, especially in Kerala, a real artist, a fine artist would love to be seen in a khadi juba, wearing a sling, a long sling, a shoulder sling bag. They're called the buddhijeevis, the
We,
buddhijis.
we call it Jolna Pai.
Yeah, the Julawala types. So if you need their talent, you have to go to them. He will never come to you. That used to be the day. Now, all those people who are maintaining their posture like that, they will sit at their home comfortably and nobody will go to them. I don't think anyone will go to them. You need to stand on top of your roof, house roof, and shout at the top of your voice if you want to be seen in the current scenario. Okay, so you should look at all your past work. I am assuming that, Madhuri, you've been shooting for long enough. There are lots of pictures that you may have shot in the past. I don't know what genre of photography that you are in, but whatever that is, this is the time you should be looking at all the places that you've stored it, in terms of transparencies, or if they are in the cloud, they are in hard disks. Put them all together, go through them. You will be surprised to find these gems hidden somewhere. You've shot and you've forgotten them, but wow! And you have a new perspective of to look at those images. Take them out, push them, put them together, and start presenting them to people on your website, on your social media. And I am sure, and of course, tagging is a very important. Tag very cleverly, intelligently, and I'm sure you will build your community. And there is nothing else that you can do, right? You can't step out of your main door. If you do it, you're fined or taken or beaten up, or you're or infected, one of these. So use this time creatively to speak to speak to your inner self. Get all those images, edit them, present them, watch what others are doing, and prepare yourself to come out, like I said earlier, stronger on the other side of this event. Okay, VSNU, Vishnu, I'm assuming that his name is Vishnu. Photography skills 80%, client managing skills 2%, client managing skill 80%, photography skills 20%. Who will win photography as a financial? Okay, so what you mean to say is which is more important? Let me tell you with complete confidence, and I'm not getting the right word, is that it's not 90-20, it is 95-5. When you do a commercial assignment, you know exactly what you have to achieve. Okay, you have spent all the pre-production days to visualize, cast, produce, gather, garner everything that is needed for the day of the shoot. That actually constitutes 95% of your work, and actually shooting is just pressing that button on top of your camera. This is exactly what this photographer from Italy was also talking about. So what you're saying is that majority of is people management, resources management, and finance management, and shooting is only 5%. That's why I said you have only 3 things to shoot, but the preparation, the management is more. That is exactly what you will learn when you go and work with a photographer. That is something which you will not be able to learn in a school or in online. In online, because you're interacting with different mentors, they will share how they deal with a particular situation, and you will learn the ropes a little better. At least you will be informed when you face a similar situation. In a school, while they teach you very systematically, while they teach you everything, you are seeing the same teacher every day, correct? In all possibility, he may not have, barring a few, may not have a actual hands-on commercial or a wedding photography experience. He will teach you the principles, the techniques, and everything. He will not be able to teach you the people. That's why an apprenticeship is important. Probably that's why you should listen to more and more people. So while I am in favor of all forms of education, there is no substitute to learning people skills and money management. Yep. We are speaking nonsense for last 1 hour 40 minutes.
No, sir. No,
we have been speaking. Karthika saying, Prasanna sir, Radhakrishnan sir, I am from Hong Kong. Thanks for your beautiful session. It opened my eyes. This is 9 o'clock. Hong Kong, my friend, you're about to go to sleep. Open your eyes. Did we woke you up from your sleep? Thank you. Jokes apart. Thank you very much, Karthikeya. These are the comments which kind of give us the energy. Prasanna sir and me give us the energy to sit here and keep talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, and any words in Tamil can you speak, sir? Just a few words in Tamil.
So you want me to really run away from here? Huh? You want to send me away? I don't. What do I say? You should have actually told me in advance. I would have learned something, prepared something.
I know you are a big fan of Vadivelu.
No, yeah. Oh, no. Some of the Vadivelu dialogues that I know cannot be spoken in public. Anyway, thank you very much. Romba Nandri.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you to everyone, each and everyone who participated in this, in this discussion. I sincerely hope that this was useful to you. This 1 hour 40 minutes. I learned a lot of things. Looking at, because the people, your viewers are really, really keen on. They're a very serious photographer. Yes, there are questions about products related questions. We will come back to you on another day, and we will talk only about, okay, this is probably a wrong time to talk about which camera to buy or what camera or what are the features. This probably is a wrong time to do that. We will come back again at Prasanna's YouTube channel, and we will discuss. We will take only technical questions at that time. So thank you once again, one more time, Romba Nandri.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prasanna, for this opportunity. Thank you. Romba Nandri. Neengalkum Romba Nandri.
Thank you, sir.